So APYs. APY stands for annual percentage yield. Now apparently there are a few ways of figuring out annual percentage yield, and if you look it up on the internet you're going to see a couple of different methods. I'm going to show you one method, and that's the method I would like you to use for this class. So annual percentage yield is a standardized way to compare interest rates that takes into account the type of compounding. So a standardized way. That means that I can look at several different types of accounts, like say this 5.6% APR compounded daily versus a 5.0% compounded continuously versus a 5.45 compounded monthly versus 5 3/4% compounded annually, and figure out which one is going to yield me the most money, given that I deposit the same amount of money in all of those accounts and then leave it in there for the same amount of time. So to do that, we will use every time a future value, we find a future value for $1 for 1 year. So our P is always going to be $1 and our T is always going to be 1. And then what we will do is find the percent increase for the account. So we're going to find our future value, find F, and it's going to be using P equals 1, T equals 1, and then whichever compounding formula you need to based on the keywords that are there. And then we're going to do the future minus the present, so the old, or the new minus the old over the old, and then times 100, and that's going to give us a percent increase. So that's what we use for our APY, the future minus present over present times 100. But when we're calculating future, we don't use 5,000 or 2,500 or whatever dollar value we might actually be depositing. We're just going to use a $1 for the P and 1 year for the time. And then that way we can calculate the percent increase, and it'll be the same measure for each of the different accounts. So let's see, for this 5.6% APR compounded daily tells me I have to use the general compounding formula. So it's going to be F equals P times quantity 1 plus R over N raised to the NT power. Now remember, my F is, or my P is going to be 1, my T is going to be 1, so I'm going to rewrite that. So it's going to be F equals $1, 1 plus my rate, which will be 0.056 over 365, because we're doing daily, raised to the 365 times T, my T is going to be a 1. So when I calculate all of this, let's put it on here. Use this calculator this time. So I will take the 0.056 divided by 365 plus 1, and that gets me this part here in the parentheses. And then I need to raise it to the 365. So to the, there it is, to the 365 equals, and then times 1, which isn't going to change my value at all. So this is my F. And then I need to subtract off. Remember, the P is going to be a 1 every time. I want to write down here just a little bit of notes on this. So we're going to do F, find F using P equals 1 and T equals 1. And then we'll use the percent increase formula. So F minus 1 is going to be over 1 times 100. So it'll just be f minus 1 times 100. That's all we have to do because the p is going to be a 1 both times, and dividing by a 1 isn't going to change our value. So we could really write our formula like this, f minus 1 times 100. So I have my f, it's sitting here on my calculator, and I want to subtract 1. So I just say minus 1, and then the result of that multiplied by 100. And so you can see I came up with 5.759, so I'll have to convert that to 5.6% or 5.76%, sorry. All right, I want to show you one more, and I'm going to use the, it's good because this one's compounded continuously, so we'll go ahead and do that one, and then I'll have you try out a couple. So 5.0% APR compounded continuously, so the formula I'm going to have to use is the F equals P times E to the RT. So because it says continuously, that tells me I need the continuous formula, so the PERT formula. So F equals P times E to the RT. Remember, the P and the T are going to be ones. So it'll be F equals, the P is a 1 times E, and the R is 0.05, and times 1 for this T for the 1. So it's really E to the 0.05. So we'll try it on this calculator this time, and I'll do second ln, and so I get E to the, and then I'm putting in the 0.05 from my problem, push enter, and I have F equals, oops, wrong calculator. $1.05127, etc. And remember, the next thing I have to do is down here, subtract 1 and then multiply by 100. So minus 1 equals, and then times 100. You can, of course, just move your decimal 2 places to the right for the times 100, but I'm just showing it on the calculator. And that comes to 5.13%, because I want to round to this position, but I have a 7 following. That's 5 or greater, so I have to bump it up to a 3 from being a 2. So 5.13%.